Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel with me, Johanna Gabriela. This time I want to talk about my adjustment here that's very different from Indonesia and I need to get used to it. Some of them are very hard for me. I have to speak English because I need to adjust myself that I'm more confident speaking English to the people for the conversation, especially for my professional career in here in the future. Well, I'm still a trophy wife until now, still looking for jobs and we'll see what's gonna happen. So here's my experience. First thing first, when I arrived and landed in LA, I felt like I need to wash myself because a long flight from Jakarta, Tokyo, and then Los Angeles, 15 hours or 18 hours. We had to waiting for 6 or 8 hours long, then flight to Utah. During those wait, I need to wash my face at least. So I went to the restroom and I started to wash my face, right? Everything was fine until like, oh, it's wet. I need a tissue. But somehow I didn't know like the tissue there was none, I guess. So I need to pick tissue at the toilet. When I grabbed the tissue, usually it was a place for the tissue, but I didn't know that it was actually the cover of toilet seat. I don't know, it was disgusting. I didn't know that. At first I was like, why the tissue was so big? And the texture is a little bit weird. It didn't feel like tissue, but I didn't see any. I was like in a hurry, so I just grabbed it. I tore it into little pieces, just like a tissue, and I wiped my face. And then continue with my skincare until I figured it was actually paper for you to cover toilet seat and there was another tissue. I realized that because the public restroom, most of them are like that. They have no bidet for sure. I also remember I was on period and I was very confused why they don't have trash at all. Where should I throw away my pads? All the toilets was very clean because there was no water at all, even no trash. Until I just figured there was just like this little box. I didn't know what that was because how come trash can be so small and it was like stick to the wall. I was very confused. I'm not gonna put it on the toilet because it's gonna make it start to flush. So I just put it there until I just realized it's actually the right place for us to throw our stuffs. And by the way, about the tissue, we usually throw away our used tissue in the trash bin, but in America, you have to throw it in the toilet because all the tissues, they're all flushable, so you can just put it there. So until now, in my bathroom, my tissue that I use, I tend to still throw it in the trash bin and not in the toilet to flush it. Sometimes I remember, but sometimes I forget. We have bidet, so that was the first thing that I asked my husband because I can't live without bidet. I always bought a bottle of water. It's what I use for my bidet. Tissue, there will be always tissue. All the toilet here is very, very clean, not wet at all. Second thing that very hard for me was actually the shock here. So since in Utah especially, it's very dry. At first, I didn't understand what do you mean by dry, humidity, like what's the difference, until I can finally able to feel it. Like it's hard for you to get sweat and your face just dry, my skin dry, my eczema didn't really good in here. The thing is with the dry in here, it caused shock and I really hate shock. If you remember or if you know when we trying to attack the mosquitoes with the racket and there's electricity, that's how it sounds when you touch somebody else and the other person is high electricity. There was a sound for that, like when you attack the mosquitoes with the racket, like and the shock was really, really bad for me. Like I don't like the electricity. I mean, I didn't even comfortable when I was in Indonesia. We walked together at the mall and then when we touch other person next to us and it's like ouch, it was shocked. And in here it was even worse. There was a sound for the shock, not just like ouch, but there's like that. It was the worst. Nobody ever told me that ever. For the people here it was normal, but for me here, I really hate it. It's something that I can't really adjust myself here, then I'm gonna be having a hard time for that. So I was very being careful. If I have to touch things that cause the shock, I'll just ask my husband to something about it, like open the door, because the door from metal, it's just gonna shock me. So he always opened the door for me just like a princess. But yeah, the shock was terrible in here. I really hate it. Even when you pet the kitties, you do this, and then after the fourth one or the fifth one you try to pet, it's gonna shock you again. And the next thing is the weather. The weather here is very cold. I was very surprised when I got here to Utah, and my family here, they picked me up, they came to welcome me. It was meant a lot for me, so I was very happy. And then one of them told me like, I'm sorry for the warm winter here, while I was actually freezing. It was -2. Now I kind of getting used to it a little bit, but -2 was freaking cold for me. I couldn't stand that. They gave me a thick jacket, yet I still felt so cold. My hands are always cold. Even in the house right now, the heater was on, but it's still cold. The house, actually it's warm to be compared to the outside, but actually it's still kind of cold. It's like 18-16 degrees. It's a good thing that it's a warm winter, because this is my first time and I can't be in very cold weather right now. It's been 2 months since I'm here. I never got sick at all, even though the adjustment of the weather, the temperature here, I'm fine. I'm very happy about it. The next thing that I'm trying to adjust myself here is the food. Actually the food fine, but when you are outside, all the food here, most of them, they have a big portion for one person. For me, the big portion is actually, you can have it for so many people. I mean for 2 or 3 person, but it's just for yourself. So at first it was hard because we went eat a lot outside. Now we eat most of the time in our house, and I can manage my own portion so that I won't get that big portion can make me bigger, and I don't want to be bigger. And the food here of them is kind of like Indonesian. Even the spiciness of Mexican food, it's not as good as Indonesian food. I think it's just me because, you know, I'm used to Indonesian food. But well, most of the time, instead of rice, we ate burgers, sandwich, most of the time with the bread. I'm fine with that. I think I'm getting used to it. Also, talking to strangers is a little bit hard for me because of the language. Sometimes I kind of have no idea what to respond spontaneously. In here, talking with strangers is very normal. There was a time when I was with my mom-in-law, we were at the mall, and then the mall started beeping because my purse, every time I wear that purse, it always happened like that. We figured out and took some like this tiny squares out of my purse, and it no longer beeped, but at the time it beeped. Then stranger over there make a joke about it. My mom, she also responded very lightly and very fun. They're kind of talking a little bit in a very fun way, and I was like, I don't know how to say. Like I was just quiet. I don't know how to respond. Sometimes I was just gonna be like, oh, how cute dog, hi, or hi, good morning. I can do that, but for respond to them, sometimes when they said, your boots is cute, oh, thank you. I don't know, was that good enough or no? I think it's just me who overthink everything, but actually they don't care because I wasn't really used to it. Back in Indonesia, we are in Jakarta especially, I didn't really talk to strangers like that. Okay, another adjustment is the road here is very different. The regulations, like you walk the left side, in here right side, and then how to turn, you have to be in the middle of the road, and then you have to turn left after that. Like, why we have to be in the middle of the road? Sometimes they don't have the pave. I don't know, it's just very different. That's why up until now, after 2 months being here, I haven't been driving at all. Always being a passenger princess all this time. The traffic in here, they put the maximum speed. It was not really fast enough actually, which is good, so everyone was gonna be more safe. I think that's all that I think about so far about adjustment after moving here. If I have something more, I'm gonna probably having a part 2, but that's all that I can think about now. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. You can share my video too. I would really appreciate that. God bless you.
Got kick.